of Binance will also plead guilty to breaking U.S. anti-money laundering laws, and the firm he founded will pay a $4 billion.
All right, what's up, everyone? So I just wanted to start a live stream with regards to the whole CZ stepping down, and of course him pleading guilty for the suspicious transactions or money laundering that has occurred on Binance, which is pretty much not very surprising because they started out in the crypto market very very early, and at the time um, there were not enough measures in place to kind of circumvent any possible fraudulent activity. Now, it doesn't come as a surprise, as I mentioned, and I guess at the end of the day, CZ is very aware of the consequences of pleading guilty towards this. But I feel that this is a very good step in the right direction, because at the end of the day, when the long arm of the law, especially when you're talking about the US government, it was very hard to not have US as part of the whole crypto market, because at the time, crypto was already very, very popular. And I think you want to have, or at least allow, one of the largest markets in the world, which is, of course, the US market, the European markets, to have access to crypto. And at the time, Binance was very, very new, and anyone who has the ability or even has the know-how, the knowledge to transact in crypto wouldn't just use it for just speculative purposes. There would be uh, there would be at least quite a number that would be using for illicit activities, which is not surprising, because that was how the whole darknet Silk Road came about, right? Where Bitcoin was used to purchase drugs. You can hire folks to do assassination, buy arms, all sorts of bad stuff. And of course, Binance being one of the biggest and most popular crypto exchanges, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, of course, you can see that happening with a lot of other exchanges like Kraken, and at the same time, they are also going through their own lawsuit. It is nothing to be afraid of, because at this point of time, what I take great comfort in is that, okay, they're just gonna settle, and then after that move forward with CZ having to pay 50 million from his own bank account, which I'm sure he has the ability to do so. Whether or not there's gonna be jail time for this, it is yet to be decided only next year. And I think at the end of the day, it is just something that he's willing to do, right? And he's willing to accept, because for him to stand trial also means that he's taking the opportunity to step down. And I think a lot of us who are part of this crypto space, who have been using Binance for a good period of time, we know that the platform works very, very well, has been very reliable all this time. And with the fact that you want to have the ability to just buy and sell crypto, you want to you want to even have leverage facilities, which I personally don't use, which is like futures or margin, cross margin, where you use tokens as assets. Binance really fulfills that gap in the market, and it does it very, very well with a very easy to use user interface. The only thing, like I said, is a shame, is that right now CZ has to face the music for all the suspicious transactions that have gone on. So obviously, from this, it claims that there has been over 100,000 suspicious transactions. this is just, like I said, one of those things that is quite a bummer. And when you run an exchange, right, it is very difficult to not have this happen, okay? Because criminal activity and criminals are equally as sophisticated. Even if you have all the infrastructure in place, and even if you have the compliance officers who are monitoring the transactions, there are always means and ways to work around it. So it is, like I said, they are out to get him. It's just about a matter of, okay, working out a deal, which I'm sure CZ has already and probably with his lawyers are planning to work out a favorable deal so that the US government can get the money that they want to get, so that it brings down the overall debt. It's not like it's gonna be much, considering that it's only 4.3 B. Of course, it's a very, very large settlement, and to me, okay, it puts Binance on the map even more. Like right now, this is even bigger publicity for Binance. And although they are paying 4.3 billion, and we have to see the founder CZ step down. And yes, there are times when during this whole debacle, you're seeing him kind of play a very different game versus, like, for example, against Sam Bankman-Fried. That's a whole story altogether, where he kind of checkmated Bankman into releasing at least most of his cash reserves so that he can buy out CZ, and only to kind of force him to reveal the lack of actual funds, right? Because most of FTX's collateral was actually based on FTX tokens, and when CZ kind of found out about it, CZ decided to make a tweet that he'll be dumping all the FTX tokens. That caused the very first spiral down for the whole exchange, and CZ owned a substantial amount of it. I mean, that is something where I feel is a brilliant business move at the end of the day, because this guy, to me, is still brilliant. It's just that, like I said, you can't fight all fires, especially when there's so many things to deal with. So him stepping down only to and face the music, I guess he knew that was inevitable. After this is done, and whether he decides to come back to Binance as a, for example, as a board of director, or he's just a non-director advisor he's still definitely a shareholder. And at the same time, the funds, I think at this point of time, everybody is more concerned about, should I still be using Binance? So yes, the proof of reserves is kind of like what we need to go on. Like, we are kind of worried about whether or not there'll be a bank run on Binance, and it seems at this point of time, Binance has about 65 billion to 64 billion in terms of reserves. Yes, there are going to be large accounts that are deciding to withdraw, but there are also accounts that are depositing, right? So this is still too early to mention, but for the fact that at this point of time, we only can monitor and see what is the situation. Obviously, a lot of folks are no longer so reliant on centralized exchanges. The veterans are already using decentralized exchanges. They are just trading small, and then after that transferring back to their private wallets. That's kind of like the way the game is going at this point of time. But I kind of want to highlight Richard Teng. Richard Teng is currently the new CEO of Binance, and it is good to kind of see who is taking over CZ at the end of the day, right? Because this dude is not like some new player in the market, okay? So from the very get-go, he has been with Binance for since August of 2021 as Binance CEO, right? For Singapore side. But of course, Binance had to exit Singapore, and the whole thing kind of like slowed down, and then he went to become the regional head of MENA, and then this is a kind of like a subsidiary of Binance, and MENA is of course located in the UAE, right, which is in the Middle East side. And then from there, now he is taking the helm as the overall CEO of Binance. Now, Richard Teng, who is he? He's basically an ex chief regulatory officer of the SGX. SGX is basically the Singapore Stock Exchange, right? Since from 2017 up to 2015, which is 7 years of experience, right? Head of regulation, regulation, right? Of MAS, Monetary Authority of Singapore. So this guy knows what he's doing. Also, prior to that, he was a director of corporate finance in Mars for 13 years. So this dude is not someone who doesn't know about compliance and running an exchange. And I think it is very befitting for him to take the helm at this point of time. And it's a very much needed move. I think CZ has already been tweeting for quite some time that he wants to step down, and he was trying to find the right person to take over the role as CEO. And I feel very, very proud, as a Singaporean, that, Richard is kind of taking on the helm of one of the largest, if not the largest exchange in the world for crypto. And it really exudes a lot of confidence, because if Binance was not as credible, or if Binance had more things to hide, I feel that Richard would probably not take up the role as the CEO, because a person like Richard, right, who has built his credentials for so many years, would never want to be the captain of such a ship, right? Because it only implicates and tarnishes his reputation. So I only see that this as a vote of confidence, especially with you're talking about the senior management role. Like I said, as Binance grows in this space, it still has so many things to offer. I feel that Binance has the whole Web3 offerings, the Web3 wallets that are still functioning very, very well. And I think there are also other platforms and other exchanges that are doing pretty much the same thing. And for Binance to kind of go down, if they really did go down, I don't see that happening. I'm pretty sure that at this point in time, it's not going to happen. I'm not affiliated to Binance in any way, by the way, and neither is there a link for you to sign up or whatever. I'm just saying that I've been using Binance for a very, very long time. So I'm happy to see such a move. It's sad to see that of course, he has to plead guilty, for CZ has to plead guilty and all. But hey, like I said, I think it's just like more of like just bite the bullet, get it done and over with, and move on. The whole Web3 space, crypto space is definitely heating up at this point in time. And if you want to say that you completely don't need centralized exchanges, I would say that it is very difficult to not have them as well, because centralized exchanges provide a very easy interface. Okay, it provides a very easy interface, and you just need a credible exchange that has that kind of high level of security and the funding in place to make sure that there is a safe environment to trade. I only foresee that if the big boys, okay, when we're talking about the big financial institutions, the traditional financial institutions coming into this space, like what Arthur Hayes mentioned, is that that's something that you don't want, but it's kind of unavoidable at this time, because traditional financial institutions have one thing: they have the old school liquidity. And at the end of the day, they are also backed by the central governments. So the sad thing is that when once, and it's already happening, right? It's not like it's not going to happen. It's already happening, where you see the big banks offering custodial services, they're offering spot ETFs. And when we talk about traditional, it's not just the banks, it's also including the existing the existing financial institutions, and these institutions are like hedge funds or fund houses that are also offering this to their high net worth clients. Usually at this point of time, that's where the fiat that they and the reserves that they have been holding will start buying up Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, once that starts to happen, you're going to see a very large shift from decentralized to centralized. And the reality is this: when there is the ability to just sell off your company and just take that buyout, you'll take the buyout. Everybody, I feel, has a price. The only time when you say that money cannot buy something is based on the fact that who still holds the integrity of the platform or the integrity of that particular network. Does it still belong to the people? Do the people actually still want to hold true to this notion, right? And this is the part that it gets a little bit complex, because I feel that at the end of the day, why Bitcoin was created is to kind of like move around the whole banking system, because the banking system also causes it is good and bad, right? The banking system is there because it provides the transaction for people who are able to have a bank account to access financial products. Then you have crypto that has provided the accessibility to people who don't have bank accounts, who are not as privileged as us, to have the accessibility to financial products. But then when you're seeing this whole shift in the dynamics where they want to have a share now, and when I say they, you're talking about basically the big institutions, the big financial institutions coming in, taking custody of your the Bitcoins in circulation or the Ethereum in circulation. It all boils down to a for profit. There's only so much that, say for example, and a big Ethereum foundation can do, because it's all about pouring in money into a particular ecosystem. So much so that there's, at some point, you will only own a good fraction of it. Now, owning more of the Bitcoin means that is something that they will target first, and of course Ethereum as well. Okay, and once they do that, they have the ability to control the prices as well. It's just very natural. I just hope that there's some room for growth still, and once that happens, there is the ability for us to make as much money as possible, and there's some way for us to coexist in a way. Or else it kind of gets pushed out. You start to get pushed out. The retail will start not having access, or thinking they will allow you to think you have the access, but you actually don't. It's no longer the same. You know what I mean? And that's what I do feel slightly sad about. I may be a little bit too early by commenting the way I am, but I just see it that way. I don't see any other way. And in the past, in 2017, you don't really have the big boys even interested, or at least they claim on media, right, mainstream media, that they're not interested because it's too volatile, it's still the wild wild west. But in actual fact, behind the scenes, maybe through their subsidiaries, they've been accumulating Bitcoin and Ethereum all this while without our knowledge. And it's only about you coming to the realization that, hey, all this shit is actually happening. How do you tackle this? So for me personally, I'm still planning on going all out to invest in the space. I still want to own some Bitcoin and Ethereum because the prices are still relatively suppressed. And well, I guess spot ETF isn't going to be approved anytime soon as everyone was thinking. So there's still a chance, right? But in reality, there's only so much money that a single individual could have. And at some point, I guess I have my price too, which means that I've always liked to live life on my own terms. I've always liked to live life that based on how I feel is important and healthy for me and my family. I'm not here to kind of want to listen to the normies all the time, or at least listen to the structure that that these people are dictating. And it's kind of sad to see that the captains of this industry, there are good captains and obviously there are bad captains. Bad captains are the ones that basically set up something. They are brilliant, but they manipulate the community. Then there are great captains that really go out there and build, but yet they are crucified for their efforts. And this is the part that, as someone who has been in the space for so long, it is a challenge. Because like I said, as humans, there's always a price, right? And whether we choose to pay the price because we are greedy or evil, or we choose to pay the price because we have good intentions and we want to see something move forward. That's how I see things. It's always very binary, right? And it doesn't have to be complex. Actually, when I look at this whole space, the complexities that are in this space, it's you're just building something for people to use. And ultimately, I just hope that when the big boys start flooding the market with more funds, right? And the funds are obviously going to be coming from people who probably don't fully understand, but they want a piece of it, right? And they start buying it up, they start owning it, they start controlling it, they start manipulating the price. It gets harder to read and it starts getting rigged. And it's actually very rigged now, right? But it's just rigged by at least pump and dump groups, or organizations that I would say are also manipulating the market. But at least I would say that it's still a little bit more fair in that sense, and there's still a chance they don't mind letting you be part of it, but at a cost. But I still feel that we have some runway to go before this kind of pulls away from us. And of course, crypto as an asset, which Kevin O'Leary mentioned that it's already one of the pillars of a potential investment vehicle, will be part of that class, where it's like the bond market, or it's like the stock market, or it's like the whole debt market, where the rich are the ones that get to play. Right now, I still feel that the retail market has still the ability and the chance to dip their toes, get wet, and and really enjoy, as long as they have enough knowledge, or at least they seek enough knowledge to learn from this space. And the innovations that are happening right now are very valuable. So Binance, I would say that there's nothing to worry from what I'm looking at. There's nothing to worry at this point of time. The only thing is, like I said, proof of reserves, as long as they're transparent and true, I will still continue to use Binance and support Binance. Of course, at the same time, there is majority of my reserves are still in my cold wallet. So trading and whatever, I'm still happy to use Binance. I'm not like moving away from the platform. The only thing, like I said, I'm very happy with Richard Teng moving up to take the helm and running this whole show. So wishing him all the best. And hopefully that everyone is keeping healthy. Everyone in this space is continuously learning and growing. A lot of things can be done with artificial intelligence at this point in time, but AI is not everything. We are still pretty much ahead. We are the ones that still create create AI, right? At the end of the day, human beings. So just keep growing, keep learning. Always be willing to be a student. And I'll see you in the next live stream, guys.